Welcome! You're on the History Lens channel, where we showcase historical and vintage photos. In this video, we present 100 old photos that will leave you speechless. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Mercury trains photographed in 1936. Mercury was the name used by the New York Central Railroad for a family of daytime streamliner passenger trains operating between Midwestern cities. The Mercury started operating in 1936 and lasted until 1959. The iconic American wartime photograph, The Thousand-Yard Stare, showing an exhausted 19-year-old U.S. Marine Private Theodore J. Miller in February 1940. After 2 days of constant fighting at the Battle of Enitok, Miller would be killed in a firefight during the invasion of Eben Atoll a month later on the 24 March 1944. A cat escaping from the Animal Rescue League in Boston, Massachusetts in 1940. Cow shoes used by moonshiners during the Prohibition era to hide their footprints, June 18, 1904. Robert Wadlow, the tallest man to ever live, with his family in c. 130 Wadlow stood at 8 feet 11.1 in 272 km tall. Harriet Tubman, photographed in 1911 at the age of 89. A federal agent inspects a lumber truck after smelling alcohol during the Prohibition period, Los Angeles in 1926. The head of a Joseph Stalin statue on the streets of Budapest during the Hungarian Revolution of 1956. Two boys show each other different skills. Kenya, 1962. 9-year-old Kevin from New York had come to Kenya to join his stepfather as guest of a Maasai tribe, where he and the chief's son Diani became close companions. Mississippi's first interracial couple recognized by the state, August 3, 1970. At 3 a.m. one night in 1988, Hawaiian singer Israel Kamakawiwo'ole called a local studio and said he needed to record something immediately. He pleaded with the engineer, "Please, can I come in? I have an idea." Kamakawiwo'ole recorded the iconic version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow in one take, which would soon touch countless people across the globe. Two brothers from East and West Berlin reunite at Checkpoint Charlie after the East German government agreed to open the wall for Christmas, 1963. The 1949 Nash Air Flight was designed with seats that reclined into convertible beds. In 1936, Nash Motors introduced the bed in a car feature. Actress Carol Burnett said she was probably conceived in a Nash sleeper seat. A Woolworth's menu from 1960 seconds when they served food. Albert Einstein with his stepdaughter Margot Einstein sitting on his lap. They were attending the opening of the Jewish Pavilion at the World's Fair in Flushing Meadows, New York in 1939. Bedouin mother from Saudi Arabia in 1948. Young couple in the 1940s seconds. Victorian poverty, 1900. Annie, 7, and 1-year-old Nellie sit on a sacking outside their house in London. They were among 10 children born to single mother Annie Daniels. 5 of their siblings died in childhood. Marianne Bevan, 1874, 1933, was an English woman who toured the sideshow circuit as the ugliest woman in the world after her appearance drastically changed due to developing acromegaly. It leads to excess growth hormone, which causes enlargement of the forehead, jaw, and nose. My Mom at Hollywood Bled in 1959. Farewell to departing troops at New York's Penn Station, April 1943. A girl climbs to say her goodbye to a soldier going off to fight in World War II, 1940. A young couple dancing bebop at Vieux Colombier Theatre in Paris, 1951. Sigourney Weaver dressed as a man, Los Angeles, 1983. Teen fashion in 1950 seconds. Corona Del March High School students Kim Robertson, Pat Ovenshine, and Pam Pepin wear hippie fashions, 1969. Young couple in Florence, My Dad Mom, 1964 K. A Danish zookeeper waters the emperor penguins on a hot summer day in 1957. Man in Fog, London, 1935 photo by Arthur Tanner. American photographer Margaret Bourke-White on top off the Chrysler Building, New York, USA, 1930. Photo by Oscar Grobner. Bourke-White was the first American female war photojournalist. Canadian police officer guarding a pharmacy during a flood. Galt, Ontario, Canada, 1974. King Frederick Ix of Denmark showing off his tattooed upper body. The king had a passion for sailing and bodybuilding. The photo was leaked to Life magazine in 1951. "48 cars in an elevator parking garage in downtown Chicago's business district USA. Built by the Westinghouse Electric and Manufacturing Company, 1936. Workers trimming the tallest yew hedge in the world. It was planted in 1920 by the first Earl of Bathurst. Bathurst Estate in the Cotswolds, England, 1962. A black sea bass caught with rod and reel by Mrs. A. W. Barrett. The fish weighed 416 pounds, 188 kilograms, and had a length of 7 feet 10 inches, 23 m. Santa Catalina Island, California, US. With her husband at war, Mom works on the car, 1944. Michael Jordan, Jacobus Rentmeester, 1984. Hitler and Speer were mesmerized by the Schwerer Gustav, one of the largest piece of artillery ever used in combat, 1941. Circumcision was used by Pakistani soldiers to identify Hindus during Bangladesh's War of Independence, 1971. Elephants know how to have fun. Just ask Queenie, the first one to water surf, circa 1950. New Yorkers always knew how to have fun. See the 1960 swimmobile drive around town? A dog secretly eats ice cream from a distracted child. New York City, 1950. Summers in Italy, in 1980 seconds. Frenchmen crying during Nazi occupation of France, 1940. An early blockbuster, 1911. Tap dancing class, circa 1950 seconds. Child laborer, 1910. Al Capone's soup kitchen, 1930 seconds. Thomas Edison and electric car, 1913. Child bike messenger, 1913. Passeig de Gràcia Street with a view of Casa Mila, designed by Antoni Gaudí, 1920. Houses along a canal in Amsterdam, 1900. An aerial view of Melbourne, the capital of Victoria, December 1954. Trams on King Street, Toronto, 1895. An airship flying over Paris with the Eiffel Tower in the background, July 1938. Petition Street, one of the main streets of Athens, November 1956. Piazza del Duomo, one of Milan's famous landmarks, 1910-1920. Numerous buildings under construction in the capital of the UAE, 1978. Triumph Model H, registered in Hertfordshire, circa 1916. In April 1926, many Ku Klux Klan members in Cannon City, Colorado strolled down Main Street and had a good time at a traveling carnival's Ferris wheel. They even posed for a photo, as requested by the carnival owner, and the story made it to the front page of the local newspaper the following day. Las Vegas in 1955, before glitz and glam became a common sign. Participants in the beautiful leg contest wear pillowcases over their heads so that the judges can see only their legs. Palisades Amusement Park, New Jersey, 1951. President Lyndon B. Johnson drives his Amphicar on April 10, 1965. This amphibious land-to-water vehicle of West German origin was produced for several years during the 1960s. Robert McGee was left permanently scarred after surviving a scalping at the hands of the Sioux tribe in 1964, when he was just a 13-year-old orphan. Back on July 4, 1905, folks gathered to watch a horse diving act, possibly in Pueblo, Colorado. Horse diving was a big hit in the 19th century, featuring horses, sometimes with a rider, leaping from towers into water pools from as high as 60 feet. Women wear plastic headgear intended to protect themselves from snowstorms in Ninety-All, 1939. Much of Boston's North End lies in ruin, following the Great Molasses Flood of January 15, 1019. A molasses storage tank broke apart, releasing as much as 2.3 million gallons into the streets at 35 miles per hour, ultimately killing 21 and injuring 150. Olive Oatman was born a Mormon, but after her family was slaughtered by Native Americans, she became Oach, a Mojave tribeswoman in the mid-19th century. Although she later re-entered Western society, she spent much of her adolescent life in the Native American tribe. Enos the chimpanzee lies in his fight couch before being inserted into NASA's Mercury Atlas V space capsule, in which he would become the first primate to orbit the Earth on November 29, 1961. A man wears an early version of roller skates powered with pedals in 1910. English archaeologist Howard Carter first opens the innermost portion of King Tutankhamun's tomb soon after its discovery near Luxor, Egypt, in 1922. A youngster stands near a pissoir, one of the many outdoor urinals installed on the streets of Paris starting in the mid-19th century. During World War II in 1942, a Syrian bear named Wojtek was enlisted into the Polish II Corps. He was treated like a regular soldier, complete with a rank, paybook, and serial number. Here, he is seen sitting for a photo with one of his comrades. Cyclists smoke cigarettes while competing in 1927 Tour de France. German-American farmer John Meents displays the ill effects of the attack he suffered on August 19, 1019, when locals took him from his home in Luverne, Minnesota, whipped him, then tarred and feathered him. Meents was attacked amid anti-German sentiment that had taken root during World War I. A man demonstrates a steel cap, splinter goggles. Vision is obtained through thin slits in goggles, and a steel dagger gauntlet, manufactured for the British military during World War I. James Naismith, the inventor of basketball, holds an early ball and basket used for the game at an unspecified date sometime prior to 1939. A soldier sprays the interior of an Italian house with a mixture of DDT and kerosene in order to control malaria during World War II, circa 1945. A man stands next to an enormous container used to store wine in Kankakee, Georgia, 1081. On November 10, 1838, Maryland inventor George Stern unveiled his creation, a highly volatile fluid that vaporizes so rapidly that the released gases won't ignite. Interestingly, Stern believed its only practical use would be to create spooky effects for horror films. Laika, the first living creature ever sent into space, sits aboard the Soviet Sputnik 2 spacecraft, launched from Kazakhstan on November 3, 1957. A camp leader rings the dinner bell for refugees at the Dovercourt Holiday Camp, 1939. Photo by Reg Speller. Some of the first unaccompanied child refugees to arrive in England as part of the Kinder Transport. December 2, 1938. Photo by Fred Morley. An Iron Man of the past in a diving suit. The suit's name was Iron Man 2. It had electric charging and pressure protection systems. New York, 1907. Charles Godefroy flies through the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. The height of the opening is 29.42 m. The width is 14.62 m. The wingspan of the aircraft is 9 meters wide, 1,019. A visitor with a candle in her hand smiles at the large collection of skulls in the catacombs of Paris, 1935. A crowd watching a British airship fly over the port of Austin during 1914. Actor Johnny Eck, who was born with an underdeveloped lower torso, poses for a promotional photo for the famous movie Freaks, 1932. Bourne City citizens await the appearance of the Virgin Mary at the viaduct, not far from the Christian school, where children allegedly observed her the day before. Belgium, 1933. Soviet cryptographer Igor Guzenko, 1945. In this photo, he hid his face for an interview with Soulpet from the Associated Press. Guzenko worked at the Soviet embassy in Ottawa and fled to the West in 1945. He brought more than 100 classified documents and information from the Soviet spy network in Canada. 29 spies were arrested and convicted afterwards. Guzenko received an impressive reward, a mansion, and political asylum. Soldiers of the British Royal Horse Artillery on pack horses, the animals turned out to be so obedient that they allowed the soldiers to perform tricks like these. 1915. Disguise of British military equipment as elephants, India, YS. American singer Al Johnson, portraying a black man on the set of the movie Bar of Wonders, 1934. The Hungarian engineer Stefan nailed near the machine he invented supposedly made people and inanimate objects invisible. 1935. Heimwehr mobilized. Ready for action. Vienna, Austria. All the Heimwehr forces in Vienna have been mobilized and ordered to get ready for immediate action. Armored cars are patrolling the main streets in case of disturbance. 1904. Burbank, California. Celebrating the harvesting of California's 1930 grape crop, one of the largest on record, Society Girls of Burbank staged their open-air festival in the famous McClure Vineyards, during which they crowned the 1930 Queen of the Vineyard Dollars Yield. Photo shows Wilma Smith, buried in grapes, eating a sample. Three late 1920s era cars, and about 10 people apparently camping or picnicking perilously near the edge of the Palouse River Canyon in Washington state. Oldriev's new tricycle. Photo by Chase. Oldriev, 1082. Dumont engineer James A. Craig demonstrates a simple dialing procedure on a completely automatic dial-direct mobile two-way radio telephone system in Clifton, New Jersey, on March 28, 1957. The system, presently used by the Richmond Radio Telephone Service, INTS, is manufactured by Allen B. Dumont Laboratories, Inc., and is the first radio telephone equipment to allow phone calls to and from vehicles to and from companies. An Army Sikorsky R-5 helicopter undergoing record trials demonstrates its lifting power by carrying 17 persons and pilot aloft as female onlookers wave in Bridgeport, Connecticut, on January 10, 1946. During the tests, records were claimed for altitude speed and both altitude and speed with payload.